Tonight on Nightline, forbidden love. On the day the Senate rejects a constitutional gay marriage ban, we hear from devout Mormon gays. Can they be true to themselves without being cast from their church? A soldier's mission. The general determined to change how American troops behave in Iraq. His message? Know when to shoot and when not to. And eat like a man. The new ads for high-calorie fast food that appeal to men's egos. But are they offensive to women? It's a sign of the times.
From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran in Washington and Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in Times Square, New York, this is Nightline, June 7, 2006.
Good evening, I'm Terry Moran. On Capitol Hill today, the campaign to change our Constitution to ban gay marriage died a quick death when the proposal, which is supported by President Bush, lost decisively in the Senate, fell 18 votes short. Well, in a written statement, the president said he was disappointed, but added it might take, quote, several tries to pass that amendment. This debate will continue all election year. So tonight we visit a community where the lines are sharply drawn. The Mormon Church, the fastest growing denomination in America. Its gay members face a painful dilemma. Nightline's Vicki Mabry reports from Salt Lake City.
Jay Christensen is an architecture student. Daniel Holsinger is in his second year of medical school studying human sexuality. They're in their 20s, they're Mormon, they're gay, and that's a problem.
There was a very strong notion that I am a sinner. Fundamentally, who I am is hated and reviled by God. I am alone. There's no one else like me.
If this was something that could have changed and I would have been able to develop feelings or sexual feelings towards women, then that would have been the easier way out, I guess.
Both men say they've known since childhood that they were attracted to the same sex. Both tried hard to fight it.
I fasted, and you deprive yourself of food, and you go for a long period of time in meditation and prayer. I mean, I did everything that I felt like I was supposed to do to really communicate with God. So I figured that if I continued on in this course, eventually, that prayer would be answered. Eventually, this nightmare would go away. Eventually, I wouldn't have to hate myself because a new part of myself would appear. This new, heterosexual part of myself would emerge. And it didn't.
Are you free to practice your religion, or do you feel shunned?
I sort of feel like I'm not really a part of things. For example, church doctrine says that in order to reach this highest degree of glory in...
This is an ABC News special report.
And good morning, everyone. We have confirmed here at ABC News that the leader of the insurgency in Iraq, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, has been killed in a bombing in that country. This information just coming in this morning. You may recall he was a Jordanian-born terrorist who led his own insurgent group until merging with Osama bin Laden's in 2004. The secret task force that has been searching for Zarqawi has also been searching for Osama bin Laden, and that search continues. We are joined now on the telephone by Martha Raddatz, who is in Iraq covering this for us and has the very latest. Martha, good morning.
Good morning. We've just received words from a senior military official. ABC has learned that Zarqawi was killed in some sort of bombing raid. I'm actually reporting from Washington and got a call from Baghdad confirming that Zarqawi was killed. They, of course, have been very close to capturing him in the past. He is the leader of so-called al-Qaeda in Iraq and is believed to be responsible for the hundreds and thousands of bombings, suicide bombings in Iraq. He was apparently in Baghdad. There was some raid carried out, and that's where he was killed.
And Martha, the question here remains, we can't stress for people enough what this means for the U.S. military effort in Iraq. Can you frame that for us?
Well, again, I think that Zarqawi has been responsible for much of the terrorism in Iraq. Military leaders have said all along if Zarqawi was captured or killed, that would not end, and certainly the insurgency would not end. And as you know, there's been a lot of sectarian violence of late. They do not expect that to abate. but they do believe the suicide bombings and the efforts that Zarqawi has made in Iraq will certainly die down to some extent.
And Martha, can you tell us a little bit more about the hunt for Zarqawi? This is a man who had a $25 million bounty on his head.
A $25 million bounty, and no one turned him in. We don't know the circumstances of what happened here and this bombing. There's very sketchy information, but there is expected to be an announcement in the Green Zone in Baghdad soon by Iraqi officials. The Americans want the Iraqi officials to take the lead on this. His capture, or his near capture in the past, I believe it was in February of '04, that they believe they came very close to capturing Zarqawi. In fact, I think that was 2005. But they did not. He leapt from a car. They've been tracking him ever since. As you said, this special task force has been assigned to hunting for Zarqawi, have had several leads, but clearly something came through tonight.
And of course, many questions remain. Will the death of Zarqawi stem the tide of violence there, or will the insurgent cells continue to operate on their own accord? Of course, we can only tell as we move forward. Martha Raddatz, we're going to have you stay on the line with us if you don't mind. In Iraq, for those of you just joining us, we have confirmed that Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the leader of the insurgency in Iraq, is dead after a bombing in Baghdad. For those of you just joining us, I'm Ron Corning here with Taina Hernandez.
And we have more now from Brian Ross about this man linked to every major bombing in Iraq. Here's Brian Ross.
Abu Musab al-Zarqawi had become the public face of the Iraqi insurgency. Blamed for dozens of attacks and hundreds of deaths, he was Iraq's most wanted man, with a $25 million bounty on his head. Zarqawi, a Jordanian, trained under Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan in the 1990s. And by late 2002, Zarqawi was in Baghdad, preparing to resist the coalition forces then gathering in Kuwait for the invasion. U.S. officials believe Zarqawi was responsible for the bombing of UN headquarters in Baghdad in 2003. And he has been linked to virtually every major attack on Iraqi police stations, oil rigs, hotels, and troops. He is blamed for bombing Shiite shrines, including this one in Karbala. The same secretive American task force that has been hunting for Osama bin Laden hunted for Zarqawi as well, but he was difficult to find. In April 2004, Zarqawi got away from U.S. intelligence officers in Fallujah, only to show up in Baghdad 2 weeks later in a most spectacular fashion, on a tape showing the beheading of American Nick Berg. Officials say the executioner was Zarqawi himself. Many believe the tape was a power plant.
It was designed to catapult Zarqawi into the front ranks of those adversaries of the United States that are seen as the most consequential. He's learning from the best from bin Laden.
U.S. officials say his influence stretched far beyond Iraq to cells in at least 7 other countries. Task Force 145 narrowly missed capturing Zarqawi in April 2006 in a raid about 20 miles southwest of Baghdad. Once known as the master of disguise, Zarqawi appeared defiant in this tape. He seemed to be seeking the world's spotlight in a very public way. Without a mask over his face, he is shown firing an automatic weapon in the desert and then turning toward the camera with his message. I swear to God, he says, America will be defeated in Iraq, God willing, and it will leave the land of the 2 rivers, he continues, defeated, humiliated, exhausted, and disgraced. Just as the messages from his mentor Osama bin Laden, Zarqawi accused the U.S. of waging a crusade against Islam, but boasted that Muslim holy warriors would stand firm. Now, with Zarqawi gone, the U.S. can claim a tangible victory in Iraq. What is unclear is how much of his terror network remains. Brian Ross, ABC News, New York.
And again, that was ABC's Brian Ross. And of course, he was a Jordanian-born terrorist who had really become the face of terror in Iraq.
That's correct. And Martha Raddatz is still on the phone this morning, joining us from Washington. My apologies, Martha. I had said you were in Iraq. The truth is Miguel Marquez is in Iraq and will be joining us momentarily. And you have some new information for us as well. Good morning again.
Good morning. Apparently in the same house was Zarqawi's spiritual advisor, who was also killed. American officials, military officials, are certain that this was Zarqawi. They're looking at pictures. They had intelligence that he was in this building, and that's why the bombing raid was carried out.
Martha, will this offer renewed hope that the search for Osama bin Laden may end in the same way?
Well, certainly you've got the same type of task force on these men. But I think in Iraq you had a very confined area. He was not hiding out in the hills. He was in urban areas, and that's where you get a lot of human intelligence. It's much more difficult in Afghanistan and Pakistan because they believe that bin Laden is hiding somewhere on that border in a very remote area. It was probably, in the end, somewhat easier to catch Zarqawi because he was in an urban area and people talk.
That is a point well made and well taken, that he was there among the people, and that's how U.S. intelligence forces were able to gather information on his whereabouts. It's a very different situation with Osama bin Laden. Martha, thank you for joining us, and again, I know you'll stay on the line with us.
All right. Well, for those of you just joining us, we have this into ABC News now confirmed. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the head of al-Qaeda in Iraq, has been killed in a bombing attack, and we're going to bring you more information as we have it.
And we seem to have confirmed through past reports, both Martha Raddatz reporting from Iraq and also Miguel Marquez, that he was a real force in organizing and carrying out acts of terrorism, including the 2003 bombing of the UN headquarters in Baghdad. But the question does still remain, without him, was he in many ways a figurehead leader, and will his terror network continue to operate minus him? And of course that would mean that the U.S. task forces there have their work cut out to continue to undermine the terror network there in Iraq.
Perhaps we'll get some more answers. We have Miguel Marquez on the line in Iraq now, who can tell us a little bit more about the situation and a potential announcement that is expected to be made later this morning. Miguel, good morning.
Good morning there, Ty. As far as Zarqawi goes this morning, there is one thing clear that's going on here in Baghdad. There's been a lot more military activity. The choppers have been up overhead all day around the Bureau, or all this morning around the Bureau. And there has been a lot more activity that we've seen here in Iraq, in Baghdad. The significance of this is, of course, awesome. May was one of the bloodiest months since the war here. 1,400 bodies brought to the morgue in Baghdad since the beginning of the year. 6,000 bodies. A lot of that blamed on the fact that Zarqawi was stepping up his campaign in Baghdad and targeting the city to make it a much more dangerous place, make it a much more dangerous place for American troops to operate. This, as the Iraqi Prime Minister is set to announce the posts of the Interior Ministry and Defense Ministry. In just a few minutes, those posts will be named. Those posts were seen as key to establishing security in Iraq because they are the ones that are most relevant for establishing security here. What is not clear is whether or not he's going to name one individual to each post yet, or if he's going to name a slate of individuals for the post and then let the parliament sort it out and vote for who will eventually take over in those two important key security posts. But with this double whammy today of Zarqawi being killed and a lot of his leadership, there was another announcement yesterday that Zarqawi's number 2 had been killed. It sounds like the U.S. military has taken a lot of the leadership out of Zarqawi's network in the last couple of days. And with these posts coming online, it may give some Iraqis some hope. We have not started to see any reaction from Iraqis on the street here.
And Miguel, with news of so much sectarian violence right now, do you think this will have a big impact on Iraqis? Because this is Zarqawi we're talking about in al-Qaeda and not sectarian violence, which seems to have increased.
It is possible. It's such a complex place. It is not clear how Zarqawi's death will be viewed by many Iraqis. I think that there are some that perhaps didn't like his methods, but agreed with the way that he took the fight to what they see as an occupying force. The fact that he is gone, though, may be seen by a lot of Iraqis as hopefully a period of calm, where the car bombs and the suicide bombs will slow down, if not stop, and that this nascent Iraqi government can begin to build a civil society, can begin to put its security nightmares behind it, and begin to build a real Iraqi society.
All right, ABC's Miguel Marquez, I want to thank you joining us from Iraq.
And again, we're expecting an announcement a little later this morning from Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, and we should confirm here again, we should let you know ABC News has confirmed that Abu Musab al-Zarqawi has been killed in a bombing in Baghdad. He has been linked to virtually every major attack on Iraqi police stations, oil rigs, hotels, and troops, not to mention civilians as well. And ABC's Martha Raddatz is joining us again from Washington this morning as we wrap up this morning this special report here on ABC News. And Martha, a question remains here for you. Is it possible that there's going to be information about the search and capture and ultimate death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi that will be kept secret so as not to undermine the U.S. intelligence efforts?
Well, I certainly believe they will not reveal how they found out about this. They will probably say through intelligence sources, whether that means someone who was close to Zarqawi, whether it meant that someone saw Zarqawi in this building that the U.S. eventually raided. I don't think those things will come out, but certainly you'll get a lot more information about how this was carried out, how they confirmed it was Zarqawi. I know one of the concerns in the past, if you'll remember when Saddam Hussein's sons were killed, that they showed people those bodies because they wanted people to make sure and believe that they had actually been killed. I think that will be a question now, whether or not they display the body of Zarqawi so people will believe it is him.
And Martha, as we wrap up here, I just wanted to ask you again, what is the impact of his death? What impact do you believe it will have at this point?
Well, it will certainly have an impact on suicide bombings, I think, in the short run. Whether someone else emerges quickly in the long run, that remains to be seen. Whether someone takes his place, moves into his place. He certainly hadn't attained the status in that world of terrorism that Osama bin Laden had, but in Iraq, he certainly had made a name for himself. So whether he has become some sort of iconic figure over there, whether people will follow in his footsteps is unknown, but I believe in the short term, you will see a reduction in suicide bombings at least. But again, you have to remember that most of the violence lately in Iraq has been sectarian, has not been Zarqawi. The major attacks have been blamed on Zarqawi, but there's still a great deal of violence that they do not believe he is primarily responsible for.
ABC's Martha Raddatz in Washington this morning. You've covered this story extensively from Iraq. We appreciate you joining us. And again, to confirm, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi has been killed in a bombing in Baghdad. We will continue to cover this story throughout the night on World News Now. Of course, you can log on anytime to abcnews.com and continuing coverage on ABC News throughout the morning, beginning with Good Morning America.
All right, and this has been a special report from ABC News.
I'm on Corning along with Taina Hernandez. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
For continuing coverage of this story, stay with ABC News, abcnews.com, and ABC News Radio. This has been a special report from ABC News.
We now join our programming in progress.
23, sir. 23 IEDs.
On this day, the general delivered his message to Army truck drivers in western Iraq, an insurgency stronghold. Half of all the incidents of soldiers escalating force happen here.
We've turned every logistics soldier we've got and every other gun truck folk into a steely-eyed killer. But the fact of the matter is, where we have failed and failed you is trying to work through the process of when you shoot and don't shoot.
Soldiers who would talk on camera heard the general's message.
Yes, there are the bad guys out there, and we need to watch for those people, too. But we need to be more conscious of what we're doing, too, and not be so focused on just one mission. We have a lot of missions out here.
What we're trying to do now is to adapt to that changing circumstance. Do they get it? Do they seem to get it? About 80 to 70 to 80% of it get it. The other 20% don't. You know, some of them probably don't particularly care for it. Some of them really feel that you can shoot your way out of this thing. And I don't believe that that's what we can do.
The general's task is not an easy one. Retraining U.S. forces in the middle of an engagement and convincing Iraqis who have heard a lot of promises and seen little progress.
You've got to understand that for the average Iraqi who just wants to get on with life, who just wants something better for him, his wife, and his kids and his grandkids, this is becoming very, very old.
Corelli claims he's making progress, that since he arrived in January, the number of times soldiers fire on perceived threats has dropped by more than a third, and the number of Iraqi civilians killed by U.S. troops has been cut in half.
For
because we know 90% of what we see out there is just that ignorant driver in a hurry to get to work or something like that. And, you know, like you said, sir, we don't need to make any more enemies out here. So.
We do not need any more enemies. We got plenty. But in the midst of several investigations which could lead to murder charges against American Marines, there's much to do. And the new sheriff knows he doesn't have a lot of time. I'm David Curley for Nightline in Al-Anbar province, Iraq.
A tall order, as we said. Another break now, and when we come back, selling high-calorie foods by mocking how women eat. Is that sexist? Well, it's a sign of the times.
Nightline, Sign of the Times. Brought to you by Geico.
We're back with the Geico Gecko. So, now here's the thing I don't understand. People could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance by switching to Geico.
Right.
So I have to ask, why does Geico even need a talking gecko?
Well, entertainment.
How's that?
Look, you can't just tell people that Geico could save them money. It's true, yes, but it's a bit boring. So you have a little gecko entertain, play a little guitar or whatever. They think they're watching entertaining television, but they're actually watching a commercial.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Being a realtor is the all-American job.
I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
I'm a small business, just like the coffee shop on the corner.
Very involved in my community.
We do more than just help people buy and sell homes. It has to do with making a difference in people's lives.
Helping people find a piece of the American dream is the best job in the whole world.
Realtors don't just help you buy and sell homes. They're small business owners who help build communities. Ask if your agent is a realtor, a member of the National Association of Realtors.
I help people live the American dream every day.
With Vonage, I talk as much as I want and pay a lot less. It's just $24.99 a month, and that includes voicemail, caller ID, three-way calling, and a lot more. The voice quality is great, and I even get to keep my same phone and phone number. I've had Vonage for 4 months. Should have gotten it a long time ago.
We're not out to change the world, just the way you talk to it. Sign up now and get your first month free. Call 1-800-398-5521. High-speed internet connection required.
Have product tie-ins gone too far?
They're releasing Desperate Housewives perfume. I'm worried the loss might be headed in the same direction, but have you seen this commercial?
Tonight, Spelling Bee champ Jerry Close on an all-new Jimmy Kimmel Live coming up only on ABC.
On the next Billy Graham television special, a story of survival from New Orleans.
A second surge of water came in from both sides of the school.
Billy Graham visits the Gulf Coast region.
Jesus is a perfect security in the storm.
Music by American Idol contestant George Huff. And a message of hope from Franklin Graham.
Watch the Billy Graham special tomorrow night at 9 on K2, The Spirit of the Northwest.
Let's talk about Oregon and trees and houses, jobs, recreation, about clean water, about logging, and Oregon's landmark forestry laws. Oregon law requires planting after harvest, so new trees grow. The law protects habitat for fish and wildlife, and it requires buffer zones to protect forest streams. Find out more. Rediscover Oregon's forests.
From the annals of advertising this evening, calories for sale in an increasingly diet-conscious country. What's a good old greasy, big portions fast food chain supposed to do? One plan? Try to convince American men to stop sweating the calories. The message? Meat is macho. And ABC's David Muir sees that as a sign of the times.
What the hell is this? Chick food?
It was a question asked in Sweet Home, Alabama, and it's one that doesn't seem to spoil no matter how long it sits out. So-called chick food versus food fit for a man.
Beef, pork, ribs, vegetable medley.
Advertisers are firing up the grill with new ads targeting meat-eating macho men.
Sausage!
It's saying that there's a line in the sand between chick food and man food, and never will they meet.
This new Burger King ad takes aim at 1970s feminism, with men singing their own version of the 1972 hit, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar.
And I'm way too hungry to settle for chick food.
The commercial ends with one man's minivan getting tossed over the bridge Along with any idea, he'd eat a tossed salad.
The Texas Double Whopper. Eat like a man.
It is very clever to take that anthem, I am woman, hear me roar, and make it a mantham. But on the other hand, the reason that it resonates is because those stereotypes do exist.
In fact, on the flip side, she says, McDonald's is doing the same thing to woo women.
He treats me like a honeybee. My boss, like a worker bee.
But when does she feel like a queen bee?
Every time I order McDonald's new Asian salad.
Some ad experts say it's simple. When it comes to women, salad sells. So why not meat for the men? And for some women, for that matter. For Nightline, this is David Muir in New York.
Well, when we come back, we'll take a look ahead at the job that many call customer service in hell.
Ink cartridge is kicked.
Oh, you try shaking it?
Yeah, tried everything.
Oh.
Guess it's up to the ink fairy now.
The ink fairy?
Yeah, you leave an empty ink cartridge under your pillow at night. The ink fairy comes and leaves you $3.
Or you could just use the easy button.
Yeah, easy button. Like that's real.
Get $3 off your total in-store or online purchase with every empty cartridge. Staples. That was easy.
The all-new 2007 Chevy Tahoe. With 320 horsepower and an EPA estimated 22 highway miles per gallon. Get there like never before. Tahoe, an American revolution.
The NBA Finals on ABC. The Heat overpowered the Pistons. Now the Mavericks stand in their way, with both franchises looking for their first championship. Game 1. Coverage begins Thursday, 8 Eastern on ABC.
Get your morning started the right way with a delicious McGriddles or McMuffin sandwich, along with a hot, fresh cup of Seattle's best coffee at McDonald's. It's the perfect pick-me-up to start your busy day.
If you want to buy a good used car, a smart place to start is with a company that makes really good new cars. That's why a Toyota certified used vehicle is such a smart choice. They're famously reliable, go through a rigorous 160-point inspection process, and come with a full vehicle history. Plus, get super low 5.9% APR financing for 60 months on select Toyota certified used vehicles. Toyota certified used vehicles. Because the best new cars make the best used cars. Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward.
This is Jada, a bit of a speed demon, but she's made some pretty good choices. Bought her first home in Vancouver and financed a better view. She also saved for her daughter's college education. Jada has some good ideas about money. She chose IQ Credit Union. If you live or work in Washington, you can too. Go to IQCU.com to find out more. Helping good people make good choices. IQ Credit Union. Financial intelligence pays off.
Charles Gibson. He's been there, seen it, never backed down. In times like these, it's important to trust the source. Charles Gibson, one of the most respected names in news, now anchor ABC's World News Tonight, your trusted source.
Tomorrow on Nightline, on the job with corrections officers in America's jail. It's a job that some of them refer to as customer service in hell.
Is there a nightmare scenario for you? Do you have a greatest fear, like the worst thing that could happen here?
My greatest fear would be that someone would die in my custody or that I would be killed in this jail.
Inside America's jails, that's tomorrow on Nightline. And that's our report tonight on Nightline. I'm Terry Moran for Martin Bashir.